I do have skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Were those lines still there, eh?
One more time.
Go, mate. Don't ever park here. It's a revenue trap. Stung me 60 bucks. Yeah, mate. You see the white lines? So you think it's a car park, yeah? Broken yellows. $1.60. But I'm taking them to court, so I'm not paying them anything. Yeah, well, they're supposed to remove the white ones. They've got little X's on them.
Alright guys, here I am with the bullhorn. You can see here, sign. Hey buddy. As you can see, the white lines are still there. I notified Auckland Transport about these white lines on the 4th of December via email. Chased them up several calls. No one's called me back. So I'm left to come out here and protest. so happens to be a sign there too. So, let's see. Okay, people. So you can all see what the problem is. I'll consider that one person I've warned already. Afternoon. Righty, hi.
I thought you were open today.
Eh?
Do you know if you're open
No,
today?
they're not. Perfect time not to be harassed by Waitakere District Court staff, isn't it?
True.
Although the lockup van's just down the driveway there, and the guys are all standing there.
The lockup means? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the prison vans, yeah. They don't know I'm
I
here.
thought you were what previously as, you didn't get harassed, like the police just got called or something stupid like
I
that.
called them and told them I was coming here to do it. And I've already seen one guy pull up and drive off again once he saw the sign.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see someone park there and come in and say, oh, thanks, mate, But that's when you want it busy on a business day.
No, I'll come back. This is just a practice run,
There's
really.
no parking. Everyone's going to
Yeah. I'll come back probably Friday. It's just because I'm doing shopping today. I thought I'll come down and have a little practice run today. And
I think if there was
See, it's those. Oh, those are down here.
would be pulling in. Oh yeah, but this is pulling in. Oh, that's
But ironically, see, here's the kicker to me, is the fact that there's still people getting dished out tickets when they shouldn't be.
yeah.
I should be able to park here and not get a ticket at the moment because there's conflicting signage.
Yeah, I agree that all yes, but I also agree that we're no through a citation.
Yeah.
What happens is all you see is that right corner there.
I agree.
And that's when
you're driving?
You pull in here,
Yep.
you reverse back. You do not see these yellow lines.
No. Exactly. And those white lines are protected.
So that
I mean, look at the X's on them.
It's like any company. It's false and misleading representation.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, which one was parking 5-minute loading or which one's 90? So either those are 90 and that's 5, or those are 5 and that's 90.
And that every time I've come here, those signs have been rotating in a different bloody angle. I'm glad they've got a pole there. So.
You stand partially on the road.
Yeah, but then they'll turn around and say you're obstructing a car park, and I'll go, what car park?
Yeah.
That's what I pulled her up
See
about.
the Freudian slip?
Yeah.
Hey, you keep talking about the car park.
I go, what car park? That's what you're saying. You can't really, sue me for blocking the car park when it's not supposed to be one in the first place.
Yeah.
Perhaps I'll pull up a chair and just park it there instead or something, but...
But you see, so in Australia, I found their legislation.
That's where Derek's from.
Yeah, well their legislation is, they don't call it motor cars, they call it a personal mobility device.
Really?
And then there's other reference to if there is no identifying particulars,
Yeah.
then no notice of offence can be issued. In other words, take all the state-owned graffiti off
Off your
and
car.
its car. Which
Yep.
means, yes, I've already
I could
looked
do
up.
that with my ambulance.
Yes, I thought you couldn't go on like a dual carriageway, which is a toll road. So that's common.
Sure.
But you can go on a toll road because they can only stop you if you are the driver.
What does that mean? It's not easy to start it.
No, Land Transport Act says driving is in regard to a vehicle. So driving is in regard to a vehicle, a vehicle is commerce.
So it's being in a vehicle, it's passing it as a vehicle, what catches it?
That's why the court is driving in the court. Because driving is in regard to vehicles. Vehicle is the commerce, which means the Land Transport Act applies. So the thing is, they can only stop.
You're just going to park there?
They can only stop a driver or registered owner. If you're not got registration plates,
Then you can't be a registered owner.
Light motor vehicle, then it's not.
Private
Then they
motor
cannot
car.
stop you because it's a motor car.
I agree. Not me.
I didn't miss a heartbeat, so.
Yeah, that was another one. Go get him, boys. Go get him.
Did you read that?
That's mine. I got this when I watched Denny Shine, you know.
So your wife isn't like joining you right now, but she's going to be a bit
Oh, she's
observer
just
and
watching,
make sure
yeah.
that, yeah.
In case I get arrested, someone can take the car
I
home.
haven't even got my phone because the phone charge at home.
Yeah, no, it's just,
Take with my phone.
it's just in case I get arrested. Or the cops decide to come and be a protest or an
Yeah,
independent
that's right.
witness. And that's why the camera's over there filming.
Yeah, and I guess you've got your cameras, you've got cameras and everything, so that's it, mate. They infringe on your rights.
Well, that's what I said to her. I think the safest thing to do is to wear a body cam.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be doing. But she didn't like it when she used the disorderly behaviour and breach of the peace. And I said, well, can you define it? And then she couldn't, so I read it out to her.
Yeah, and let's not forget they will allow us to lie.
Oh, of course. Yep.
But you're not.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just going by what I'm a law-abiding citizen.
But that's right. You see the one where I said to you, because you've got to be hard, you're entitled to research. I know you know too what the words mean in interpretation, in the information, but you're entitled to an interpreter who understands the language of the court. Now that's not English. The language of the court is a combination of like English and legal Latin.
Sure. That's right. There you go, mate.
You're someone who knows what those words mean in that courtroom.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And of course, if you ask for that,
That's true.
they're not going to want
No.
but
Oh, we're not going to go there,
Right.
Mr. Keane, is what I'll get from the
That
judge.
right is asserted, and it applies to them.
That's what I said to her when I did my second request. Give me the name of the judge that chooses to infringe on my rights.
But after that of the executive branch,
What, like send it off to the minister or something?
or like the land transport or whatever else.
Oh, transport minister,
Well,
of course.
whoever's issuing you the ticket.
Awesome, thanks.
That applies. They're the ones who sort of stick to the charging document. So, well, ask everybody. You know, ask
Yeah, me.
well,
I don't mind asking for each thing.
all those other rights, you know, one's been called like the right to consumers.
They're going to put me in the category as a defendant, and the defendant has rights and will exercise them. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. If they're going to force me into playing the game,
Well, that's it. If you don't,
they better know the game properly.
if you don't protect those rights, you don't get those rights.
Don't exercise them, like actually in right.
So, but do not interfere.
No,
Agree, without protest, like obstacles like driving,
yeah, oh, it'll be an instant objection, Your Honour. That's not evidence.
transport, orders, carriage, operate.
Yeah, I've learned a lot since the last one, eh?
Oh yeah, so you'll be a lot more confident.
Oh, fuck yeah. But it's a JP this time, he's just a muppet.
But you ask questions because you make them have to do the work.
Yeah, well, just so I can get it on record. That's why I asked him, are you going to be fair, independent and impartial adjudicator
But
today?
yeah, whoever's taking a stand, you ask questions. You make them have to do all the work. You do the work.
No, absolutely.
You can stand out there. That's public property.
Court matters, Phil. And I've got the
Oh,
my
my
little.
husband came out with a finger wagging and of course, yes, you're right, that was...
Oh yeah, that other guy, he was hiding his face. He did not want to be, but he did actually have his ID
And
badge
all
hanging
call
from
the
his
police
leg.
or something like that. Well,
Okay, go
call
ahead.
the police.
Yeah, I've got no authority anyway.
Yeah. Oh, no. And it seems to think that everything she can see, like, out onto the public property is...
It's her domain.
It's her domain, but it's not.
Well, that's what I pointed out. You know, that's why you call them cops. You don't have jurisdiction out here. That's why you need to call them.
I mean, she can't use force. She can...
Oh, you can try to intimidate, but that don't work for
Yeah.
me.
That's right.
That's what cracks me up, eh? They just think I'm some ignorant fucking sheep that
Well,
doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing. It's all about presumption and assumption.
Yeah,
They all
exactly.
assume, and most people assume that they're guilty.
Yeah. Well, I rang out my sister yesterday, and my brother-in-law says, why don't you just pay the fucking ticket? And he says, well, I don't like it. And I said to him, well, so you presume yourself to be guilty straight away, do you? And he says, don't you think you've got a presumption of innocence?
Yeah, and all too many people assume that they are driving. They don't even know what that word means in the court.
I know, same with drinking. Drinking refers to alcohol.
Yeah, you see people on telly go, oh yeah, I'll have a drink, oh, he goes to water, oh. No, but as soon as they see the
They
word
drink,
drink,
they've been admitting to drinking alcohol. No,
or the
catch-22
other one that
tricky
will always say,
bastards,
I've only had two. And they're like, okay.
No, I've only had one or two. Yeah, that's why I can't stand up right.
If it was couple, two.
So what do you reckon, Leah? Should I bother sticking around too long, or just leave the sign and leave the chalk and... There you go, bro. Because it is a pretty quiet day, isn't it? Come back on Friday.
So, like, careless driving was disqualified.
Yeah.
And the judge was saying
All
to the
suckers.
defense barrister, has your client admitted
To be driving.
And he said, yes, Your Honour.
There you go.
The lawyer was throwing his client under the bus.
Yeah.
And straight away,
That's why you're asking for Rogers.
because then...
See what I mean in that Rogers letter?
Yeah,
Do you know what the crux is? Were you driving? Well, thank you for
Because then you see, driving with regard to vehicles, vehicle is part of the land transport act, therefore the judge is not in contempt of law when she was finding
Yeah.
It was he actually, it was he. He was not
Line bag.
So yeah, they know.
Of course they do.
They don't pay income tax. They need like the privacy commission. No income tax.
Don't they?
No. If you go privacy act,
Yeah.
you have to go down a long way.
He's quite a big one.
And it says the privacy commissioner does not pay income tax.
No shit.
Judges don't know that. Because from what I've been told, but I haven't done my homework,
Sure.
income tax is for state employees. They pay a share of their income.
Yeah. Well, all of that is for state.
It's for the state employees. It is not for the likes of
The individual.
and private.
Mm.
So the rest of us, we go file an income tax
Declaration.
because we assume
You're making a declaration.
that we have to pay income tax, and they'll happily take our money. It does not apply to us. It applies to those who are state employees, other than those who are exempt, like judges and things like privacy commissioners. Most likely also the
Disgusting.
Governor General, the Attorney General.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. They just.
It's, it's really empowering, though.
You notice a few of these. All the comments on the $60. Not one of them just says just pay the ticket. They're all. Oh no, there's been quite a few. There's a few different people just saying, good on you, and keep going. They don't like it when they're having their own rules put back at them, and I'm saying, why aren't you guys all doing the same damn thing?
I feel quite confident about this one.
Yeah, you and I both know he should never have issued that ticket. And the fact that it's gone on since the 12th of October when I got it, and I know it's been like that for many months before that, how many frickin' tickets have they dished out? And they don't keep individual track of each spot. That's why I can't go and ask how many tickets have been dished out for that spot before. They don't.
There was two of them, I think.
Yeah, so you know of two. And that's what I'm saying. I've got a witness that saw it.
So the
And that was
thing
2 weeks after they were notified. In the report details, he says driver returned and drove off. So you'd already seen him leave. There's no way he
yeah,
had
he walked down that side and around there. So his next issuing ticket would have been somewhere
around the corner.
that way. Yeah. That's it. Ask him. Where was your next issuing ticket? Would have been around there and beyond that direction. So yeah, he's
I'm
putting
just-
himself on the stand.
I was going to ask him, is he aware of the penalty for perjury? Are you concerned about committing perjury today? What do you reckon? I mean, yeah, see the little white X's on the white line? And yet when everyone drives along, the first thing they see is the white markings, meaning park here. Keep that ticket for being unbroken. I'm going to the court on the 25th of January to challenge the warden. And I actually managed to get my hands on the parking warden's training manual. And it says if there's conflicting road markings, you don't issue a ticket. But he did. He stood from behind that cabbage tree in the concourse of Waikato District Court and took the shot of my car that was here.
And he got charged.
I got 6, well, I'm not paying it. I'm going to court and get rid of it because he shouldn't have issued it when there's conflicting road markings. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to ring up the council and say, hey, come and get it fixed.
I think it used to be
It used to be.
now.
Yeah. But you see, the white X's mean they're supposed to have removed them, but that was in October. So what I did is I rang up the council and I informed them that the road markings were false. I did his job for him. And they've still issued at least 2 more tickets I've seen verified since. So it's just a revenue. Yeah, no. So they'll win. Yeah, pretty quiet. It's interesting they've still got prisoner transport going today. Yeah. Oh, I get it.
But the hardest thing to do is refrain from making statements, Mark.
Oh, I know. I got carried away last time, but I still won.
Oh no, in the court you ask questions. You challenge their statements. It's nice when they want you to plead guilty or not guilty. You don't even know the interpretation of the words and yet they're already asking you to plead.
Yeah.
So, because that's part of the scam to begin with.
Because that's what I said to Vanessa, is that you're supplying me the provisions, is that your reasonable nature and cause? Is that how you're describing nature and cause, showing me a provision, something in a different language that I don't even understand? How about English, you know?
So yeah, when you plead, that's already cause. And you don't know the interpretation of the words. So, what can you take? I even had a defence barrister in the UK say, if you sat there and did nothing, then the judge would issue a warrant for your arrest. And there's even one on YouTube somewhere.
Because they didn't own up to being the person.
Yeah, and so the judge then was the person until such time as someone took, assessed them.
Yeah.
And so then the judge had issued the warrant for arrest. So the judge then had to turn to the police in the room and have the police arrested.
Oh, that's right, he issued a warrant out for his own arrest at one point.
To remain anonymous.
Yeah, it's the whole honour thing most people don't get though. So that chick said, did you ring up and ask for a request? I said, well, I stayed in honour and accepted their claim for value, provided there was evidence.
And so the whole pack of house of cards was kind of crashing down. And the judge had to tell the police, oh look, don't you love them as well? That's all a scam as well. Oh no, sorry, that's not, no, I'm thinking it's
Community patrol.
The parking.
Mary wardens have got enforcement powers. Did you know that any parking warden can ask you for your details?
Well, they can ask. But they
they can require you to supply your details only if they suspect you of committing an offence. Yeah.
And if you've got a small passenger service vehicle, in other words an Uber or a taxi,
Well, it's because of Uber, that's why they're all done it, isn't it?
and so they can ask, they can require, but they cannot force.
Yeah, well, they can't, I think, demand?
They're allowed to lie to their heart's content, but they can't force you.
I agree.
Because keep in mind, you have the right to refrain from making statements.
25D.
But to be in keeping with the Bill of Rights. The Attorney General is the one that has things have to be in keeping with the Bill of Rights. Yeah. So So, you know, you have this bill and can go through all its readings, and then the bill...
Do you reckon...
At the end of the day, to look and go, hang on, that's not keeping the bill of rights. That's the kind of that.
And do you reckon Philippa actually referred it to a JP and got told no? Or do you reckon she just bullshitted me? Because there's no minute...
That's a lie. No, there is nothing... There's no... Okay...
You know, like when I got a decision from Judge Mathis, she sent me a minute.
As you say,
Yeah.
But, yes, there's likely not going to be an order of the court,
Or a direction.
but there's not even minutes, no.
No.
No, that's just what you call rubber stamping.
Yeah, that's what I mean. She's trying to get rid of me by just saying no.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, well...
We'll assume that that's correct. They're not, as the judge said in court, it is wrong to assume.
And they can lie and be not accountable under civil proceedings because of the Crown's Act.
And there weren't just police prosecutors. You had also, that last case, you had a woman who was a police prosecution barrister. So
Oh, was she?
She had a legal law degree. She wasn't...
You know, I love the way she kept referring to me as the colleague. My colleague. She's like, I'm not part of your club.
My learned friend.
Yeah, exactly. You go, warden, you like that? That's warden.
The police, the community patrol,
Yeah.
and the people that are the prison transport, they've all driven past you.
I'll be back. Well, I don't care, mate, about making a spectacle of myself. That's the whole point.
You wouldn't notice.
No, well, they were just... one guy, two people have tried to pull in and park and then they've driven off. Do you know the wardens go and operate in private parking areas at like 2 in the morning?
Yes. I'm not... So that's why you could go into town and park in a parking spot all day, every day, and they can't give you a ticket. You don't get paid because it's all part of the road, which means free access to when we're not in commerce. If we're in commerce, we have to pay. If we're not in commerce, we can park.
On those pay and display ones, you know, where you pay for an hour, you might only be there for 10 minutes. I used to love giving my parking thing to the next person, although they say you can't do that, and that's why in the parking things now they get you to put in the plate number, so it only belongs to that plate that's been paid to park there. But they're supposed to give 10 minutes grace, so you can actually park in a paid parking space if you're going to be there for less than 10 minutes and not pay a bean. I think people are waking up though, eh? Things are going to come to a critical mass. It'll come to a precipice, yeah. Yeah.
More and more people now, they are more... You know what amazes me is how a suburban woman in Auckland, New Zealand knows the Constitution and the American Bill of Rights
More than their own ones.
and those who it applies to, and it's ratified, like for us at firms,
Yeah.
and it applies to them and they don't know it, or they don't care to know it because they hate it. They have to down to it.
Yeah. And I'll be here every week holding these fucking signs until these white lines go. And that chick said to me, I'll get someone to call you back. Still waiting. That was what, a week and a half ago?
Well, I guess I get it.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I do. When you're driving along, you don't see the yellows. You see that white corner and you think it's safe.
Because I see that,
Yeah.
but I see the white hockey stick, I park here. And so this is getting everyone,
Everybody parks here all day, every frickin' day.
and there's a lot of people who just...
What irks me is that I've told the council, did you catch Willies on part 9? He totally agrees with me that Auckland Transport's leaving themselves liable for prosecution. I know, he was a mumbler. And it doesn't look good for Auckland Transport when their own call centre people are saying we totally agree that we're leaving ourselves open.
Who washes off?
Yeah, I know. And that's what I said to her, well, you're going to go arrest some people for hopscotch.
Every little kitty down on the footpath?
Yeah. But I've got a whole box of chalk and it says sidewalk chalk.
Or should they footpath?
Yeah, I know. People are...
You've been watching too much American. You've been outside saying that to them all the time.
How's it, bro? Good, man. Yeah, she's a stinking hot one. It pissed the taxi guy off. Honestly, I would have thought if those guys had a problem, they would put it through on the RT and I'd be contacted.
I saw one man quite keen to do looking.
I did indeed.
What is that?
They're trying to say I was parked on broken yellows, and you can see the white lines marking out a car park as well. So if there's conflicting road markings, they're not supposed to issue an infringement. So it's just revenue collection. They're supposed to actually get rid of the white lines and no one would park there.
Same as these bloody speed cameras have got.
Oh, exactly, mate.
But I don't care what people say. I was driving a bus,
Yeah,
and I got clocked on the new one they put out by St. Joseph's in Grey Lift.
yeah.
And they've only been there for like 3 months. They got me in 5K.
Yeah.
But how many people can you see say, oh, fuck, I'm going to go and pay the fine?
Do you want me to tell you the answer?
Simple.
2017, for speed camera tickets, they made $86 million in revenue. For parking infringements, they made $60 million.
Yeah, well, you know what?
And the parking warden's getting $44,000 a year for doing it.
Yeah, well, you know what? They fucking couldn't get me, mate, because
I went to court and challenged the last one I won.
Yeah, well, the same thing. People don't realise it's only an alleged offence.
Yeah, it's only alleged. Everybody presumes themselves to be guilty and pays.
So if you pay it, you're guilty.
Yeah, well, what I do is you stay in honour, you send them a letter saying you accept their claims as though you, provided they can establish the evidence. Only probandi, the burden, the proof's on them.
Exactly. Now,
And it's the criminal proceedings, which means beyond reasonable doubt is the standard.
Yeah, well, so what I did as a bus driver, I mean, you know, you're coming down Great North Road into Grey Limb with that
Yep.
speed camera.
I know where you are.
And I've got the speed camera, there are fucking red light camera, and there are surveillance camera.
Yep.
They get all the criminals.
They
So
do
I don't
all
have
three.
a problem with that because I'm not a criminal, but I don't have an issue with that. The fact of the matter is, that, like you said, revenue gathering is exactly what it is, and it's the only way they can gather revenue and correctly, and they, even though it's not correct sometimes, but a lot of people don't fucking give a fuck and they don't challenge it.
Cost them more to
So
challenge
what I
it.
did, this is what I did. And he said, we need the money for speed camera fine. I said, excuse me? I said, that isn't a alleged offence, and I said, I'm challenging it, I'm writing the letter.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, okay. I said, I want a copy of the ticket. They sent me a copy, and then I sent the letter away, and I said, under the circumstances, I'm a bus driver, and I'm driving down in the thick of the traffic, and I said, yes, I may have, I didn't admit, I said, I may have gone slightly fast. I said, but I'm trying to drive all the idiots on the road, and suss out my customers that are coming on the hands out.
Yep.
And I said, so I may have gone slightly fast, but can you please, I knew the camera had to be here for 12 months, 12 months versus calibration.
Which they can't do. And now I have heard
nothing for them.
Same with
I've
speed
heard
cameras,
nothing
mate.
from them.
The speed cameras, they use a tuning fork to calibrate it every day. And of course, it has to be calibrated and correctly certified for them to use it in the first place. But they don't calibrate the tuning fork, do they? And that's the whole crux of the matter. There's no calibration for that. And it's only a thin piece of metal. They only need to knock it hard and it knocks it out.
I wasn't. I lost balance.
65.
And what about once we started getting it
35.
up right?
65, 35, test positive. Test good.
Sir, I don't make the decisions on whether you drink.
35.
Gentlemen, you're doing your job. Do what you gotta do.
65.
I challenged my speeding camera ticket. I got an $80 speeding ticket on the motorway and a temporary 80. And the whole crux of the matter is I just shut my mouth. It's not for me to help them prosecute. I said, all they kept saying was, were you the driver? Because they wanted to make, it didn't matter if I could say, yeah, I wasn't going that fast, it still makes me the driver.
The right to entitle to a free interpreter who understands the language of the court. Now,
Yeah,
the language
because
of
it's
the
different
court
language.
is English and
Legalese. That's why you need a
So,
lawyer.
the thing is, are you carrying passengers for reward or fee? Right now.
No.
You don't. So, this is where they get to. Driving is in regard to a vehicle. A vehicle is engaged in commerce.
You're not engaged in commerce.
This is registered as a light motor vehicle. A light
Hey, diesel
motor vehicle,
tax.
a light motor vehicle is a taxi. Now that's just been changed in the Land Transport Act.
Because of
That's
Uber.
been changed in the Land Transport Amusement Act of 2017. They've taken out the word taxi, and now this is a small passenger service vehicle.
It's all in the words, mate.
Commerce, they're saying that you carry passengers for reward or fee. In other words, you are Uber.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
A
It's
motor
like,
car,
you're paying road use tax here.
we have over 1,100 acts, and there's only one place where you'll find the interpretation of a motor car, and that's still in the Land Transport Act. At the very beginning in the interpretation, hidden in plain sight, in heavy motor vehicle,
Yeah.
which is 3,500 kg. In brackets, because no, use means operate, which means you're operating
Yeah,
commerce.
use means
That's
operate.
What it is, or when you pay usership, but you're not operating. So, the thing is, a motor car is not used for operating, kept or available for the carriage of passengers or reward or
Yeah. We'll park in here because you can't get a ticket. Yeah, what I found.
Now you're on the both of the yellow lines, you'll get the ticket.
No, you won't.
Why copy sticks?
So you've got conflicting road markings, they shouldn't issue a ticket.
Okay, so a motor car is not kept, used or available for carriage of passengers for reward or fee. If you sit in a courtroom and you watch sentencing and you watch things like careless driving or driving whilst disqualified, the judge will ask the defence barrister, has your client admitted to driving?
That's all they
The
need.
lawyer will say, yes, Your Honour, my client admitted to driving.
Why would them open their mouth?
Yeah.
Driving, now we know driving is in regard to a vehicle. Vehicle, like this is, a light motor vehicle, which is a small passenger service vehicle, or a heavy motor vehicle, but it is in commerce. Therefore, the Land Transport Act applies. Therefore, the judge can find you guilty, because then the judge is remaining in honour and not, because the judge's job is to, to work within the parameters of the law.
Sure.
If there was no one driving, so no one driving a vehicle, no one engaging in commerce, then the Land Transport Act does not apply. And the judge cannot find guilt, because then they would be in contempt of the law. See, I do not drive. I have the right to refrain from making a statement.
Yeah, section 25A.
That's what happened when I had an accident with my bus.
The onus is they have to prove every
I made
element.
a statement in Customs Street because this woman came up the inside of me.
And they'll be held against you.
But the bus is commerce.
Aye.
So the bus is commerce.
Yes, but
So
can I
therefore you're driving.
just
I like what you're saying. But I just want to confirm a couple of things. Now, when I was driving for the bus, a lower Customs Street before they done all that shit down there, what they're doing at the moment,
Yeah.
buildings, and the bus took the lead from there. I had to do the loop and come around the lower Customs Street, pick up again. So what happened is on lower Customs Street, I'm doing a left-hand turn, so if I'd been in hard left lane, I would have taken the pole out. So
Right.
I'm straddling both lanes. There'd be indicator on left, and there's a gap there on also. You come down left.
You know they're going to though, don't you?
Yes, I knew that going. What happened next? I'm right at the front. Light's red. The lights change green. I start manoeuvring around the corner. So I get around about 45 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, my lights are green, but the other one's the crossing. I've got to give way to the crossing.
Of course.
The restriction crossing. Well,
Yep.
control crossing. So I stopped. Next minute, literally next minute, she did. She came up to the inside.
Even though you were turning left.
Yes, even though I was turning left because there was a gap. But she was in my blind spot because I was like this.
So you went straight over.
So I didn't see her come up the inside, but I'd had my indicator on, I'd straddled the lane.
You were doing everything legally.
Okay,
Yeah.
she was trying to create a lane, and if she had gone round completely, if we both completely got round like that, she would have been in the bus stop, the next bus stop.
Right.
So she was creating a lane that wasn't there.
Inconsiderate driving, yeah.
Okay, then next minute, boom, as I stopped, people thought I hit her. I thought, fuck, where did you come here, you fucking bitch? You came up the inside of me.
Yeah.
Then everyone went, whoa, the big bad bus. Where was I? I was on the outside.
You cocked the plane.
Hit her.
Yeah.
The bus has been bad.
Yeah.
And then that's what they
right,
saw.
hey.
I had witnesses coming out of the woodwork everywhere.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck, it's clear cut. I'm fucking in the right. Sweet as, I'll give the fucking police a statement. So I did the right thing, give them a statement.
It was held against you.
Literally, a week later, they sent me a letter saying that they found me to be at fault, that I was a nuisance. The witnesses, one of them was a warden and what do you call it, a parking warden in his lunch break.
Yeah.
See, they only saw what happened when they hit the back.
Yeah, they never saw what happened beforehand.
And it looked like I'd cut her off.
Yeah.
But keep in mind, like for example, in that, we're not using the road, because using is operating in commerce. So we have, the road is there for the people. We have an inalienable right to the freedom of travel if we're lawfully in New Zealand.
Right.
Now, so when the road is there, if we're not in commerce, we have free access as of right to travel upon the public private road.
If I'm not like an Uber charging.
Exactly. You're not
You're
actually
not
in commercial
driving,
space.
and you have free access. You're not using the road. It's
Same
all
with the cops
about
say, have you been drinking?
interpretation
Drink,
of
drink
the
alcohol.
words and the language of the court.
Okay.
And you'll find those
I'm
many
very
images.
aware of some of my rights.
The word tricks, yeah.
So have a look on your driver's license on the back, which the endorsements will say things like motor car, light motor vehicle, motorcycle.
They've changed it now in the latest driver's license. It's just a little picture of a kinky
Yours
car.
might say heavy motor vehicle, too, because it's
Yeah, because of the bus.
Well, what really pisses me off, and I want to know what I can do about it, this is a diesel. Okay?
Yep.
You do not have to pay.
Road user charge.
don't have to
That's
pay them.
not fucking...
I don't pay them.
She's paid
I
it for 3
have a
years.
Holden that's a diesel and I don't pay them.
Right, okay, well I'm going to do the same when this runs out, because I'll tell you why.
They threaten debt collection, they can't do it.
It's costing us, I worked it out. About 10,000 k's, it's costing 7 cents a kilometre.
Yeah.
Okay, if you add that up, it doesn't sound like much.
Oh yeah, but it works out the
I
same.
paid $1.43 for diesel down at
A road user charge is saying that, see, it's all about presumption and assumption. They presume you're in commerce, so that means that you're using the road. So road user, you're using the road in commerce, operating in commerce. And do not assume, as the judge says, it is wrong, when like police prosecutor says, I assume, and the judge stops them and says, it's wrong to assume.
That happened in my case, it's all up on the issue.
Oh, and the defense, I watched his last case, and the police prosecutor stood up, because he was sort of spouting legislation, and so
You do it. Yeah,
the police prosecutor stood up and said,
representing.
oh, my jaw dropped. But Your Honour, nobody questions it.
Everybody just pays. That was his excuse for it.
Exactly, this is right. And this is right. This is what I want to say. I added up the $1.43 cost for the litre of diesel, and then I added up 7 cents a K. Look, let's say I'm getting, to be fair, about 12 kilometres per litre.
Sure.
It'll be up or down depending on how much you go around town. Like, let's say about 12 K.
Yep.
So that's 12 times 7 is 84. 84 cents on the 134, 143.
That's about the same.
I'm paying more for this than fucking a petrol car.
And it used to be cheaper.
That's fucking bullshit.
And not
What am
only
I supposed to do? Can I get away with not paying this fucking...
Yeah, because there's no provision stating that you have to pay because you're less than 3.5 tonne.
So,
It's only for more than 3.5 tonne.
so over there, for example, over there it says police vehicle, because they are in commerce, that's why it's a vehicle. But you can take all state-owned graffiti off, and they cannot even stop you. And you never present a driver's license, you never allege to be driving. You're not driving, you have free access. Just the same, I can walk on a footpath, or I can
Free access.
go on a bicycle, unregistered.
So when the cop stands there and says, are you the driver? And you think, what the fuck are they asking me?
The cop will do whatever the cop
The
does.
cop is allowed to lie, and they're allowed to presume that you are driving. What you do,
The best thing to do is shut your mouth.
Well, you have to tell them your name.
No,
No,
you
you
do
don't.
not. They can only stop a driver or a registered owner. If you're not driving and there's no registration and no identifying identifying particulars, they have no then jurisdiction to even stop you. And if they do, okay, I've got in my road, there is a recently retired ex-motorbike cop. And he says, oh no, I'm not, cop anymore and all this. No, he still has the mentality. He said to me, if you don't know ID, I'd arrest you. And I said to him, you can only detain, it's actually the word is stop in legislation, you can only detain for 15 minutes for the purpose of ID. 16 minutes is unlawful. And all he could do, because he knew I knew, was bow his head. So what you do is you keep your windows out, so air conditioning on, not pleasant, and you put your hands in plain view, because especially if you ever travelled in America, you do not want both hands visible at all times. You have your secure against an arbitrary search or seizure of person, property, correspondence or otherwise. You have the right to refrain from making a statement. You have the right to refrain from being a witness against yourself. You have the right to refrain from self-incrimination. So you do not have to say, you do not say anything. And if they're holding you for the purpose of ID, they don't have 15 minutes. 16 minutes is unlawful, and you have a valid claim against them.
Right. For unlawful detention.
Unlawful detention.
So even if he pulls you out, it's speeding up behind you, with his lights on and pulls you over.
Oh, you see, they're supposed to have a tracking record of 100 metres. They're supposed to set the grounding off to zero on the radar. I've got their entire radar users manual.
You can
just put it all up there.
If they detained you, if they put cuffs on you, that would be an unlawful battery. Unlawful battery. That would be, well, it would be battery. If they took you away, that would be an unlawful arrest.
I love this,
you
just don't know that stuff.
Can I give you my email?
Sure.
Just a message or something.
Yeah, just say you spoke to me outside the court. But,
what's your name?
Mark.
Mark, I'm Jono.
And I have lots of messages on them.
Yeah, I need it. I have fucking been hanging out to meet someone like you fucking with a long time. I haven't known the law, but I've known what they've done. I've had a feeling what they're doing is absolutely wrong. So if I get pulled over and by a cop and he says you haven't paid your road users,
you say nothing.
I can just wind the window up. I don't have to talk to it.
Just keep your window up.
Put my hands there.
Yeah.
Because she's been sent bills every 90 days to do the 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, and then they threaten the court, but they can't take you to court because there's no provision in law stating that you have to
I
pay
could bring a claim against them for bringing an invalid, bringing a fraudulent
document to court.
Okay,
so that's how it works. It's in the land transport.
Road users laws. Perjury is taken seriously by the judge. Because there's the legislative branch, the executive branch, the judicial branch, and then any body or person. So,
local government
they can't infringe their authority. And they can't make up lies in court.
They must be getting away with fucking murder.
You always get to get $30 tickets from the camera in Glenelg.
I might go.
See, the trick is with the speed cameras, you ask for the photo never shows who the driver
is. The Land
is.
Transport Act
So they can't verify who the driver was. And it's not for you to say, oh, I wasn't going this fast, because that means you were driving. You just sit there and shut up and say,
you to learn a road
what evidence you got?
They want you to learn the road code,
It's code, it's
keep
not law.
left. So they want you to sort of keep left and be a calm and courteous driver. See, driving, all this. But if you read the Land Transport Act, they don't want you actually to read the legislation. Because that spells it out. And the beginning is the interpretations. Same with the interpretation, there's an Interpretations Act.
Yeah,
and that
1999.
spells out, for example,
what's a person?
Are you a person? Is a body corporate,
right,
unincorporated body, sole incorporation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you have a persona to represent through within a certain society. So you have different personas. So you have your legal name, you have your natural person, your legal person, body corporate, corporation, sole, unincorporated body. That's the 5 different types of persons in legislation. None of them says man.
Have you ever asked license, passport and epitaph? Your name is in all caps.
It's called Capitis Diminutio Maxima, which is a corporation.
Why little capital?
There's 3 different ways of writing your name. It's just the initial capitalisation, there's your initial and full last name capitalisation, or there's full capitalisation. It's all Admiralty, Maritime, dead law, salvage. So that's your person you represent as. It's like
the cops say 3 Admiralty ships.
The cops ask me what's my date of birth. I said, I know. I was there at the time, but I can't remember.
Law of the sea.
Can you remember the day you were born?
So you
What's he
basically
getting caught at the time?
You were born alive. The doctor signs live born. That you're born alive.
And then your
parents
settled
are
property.
You're missing, abandoned, lost at sea.
That's where the birth gets broadcast in the paper. And that's when the father's supposed to come and lay claim to the property, but they never do.
The state forms a trust in that name until such time as the body comes forth.
Yeah. That's why people have beneficiaries. They don't want people on benefits because the benefits have the access to their CSTQ trust, which is set up. But it's the old phrase, you're worth your weight in gold. Your birth weight dictates how much your bond, your mutual trust bond, is floated every 90 days since the day you were born. And that's what pays all your benefits. Taxes go straight off.
Basically, all debt is paid once you're born. Once that birth document is formed, you could ever accumulate.
It's been bankrupt since 1933.
I believe, I'm a bit of conspiracy theory. I believe more than that. I believe that we're in a prison camp here.
Yeah, well, of course.
We're all prisoners.
The smallest words are the most defining. Do you live on Earth or in a country? If you're in something, you're confined by what controls it. If you're on it, you can walk away.
I can't believe it.
It's word games.
I got a ticket. I got a letter from the land transport, the registration people.
Yep.
Because I had my little bike that I sold.
They're telling you you have to change it.
Came off hold on the registration, and because I didn't have a warrant of fitness, I said, well, it didn't have a warrant of fitness. They wouldn't let it on hold.
You re-register it. Yeah.
They wouldn't let put it on hold.
Of course.
And so it ticked over on Rego, and I wasn't using it. And then when I sold it, they sent me a bill for $30.
Yeah, keep in mind, let's say that
shouldn't.
my son has quite a large farm. I could be all over the farm on it, so I'm not using the road at all, a public road. Therefore, all those kilometres ticked out don't even apply.
Because you're not using them on the road. You could be using your car 90% of the time on a private property. Clocking up the mileage when you're not using it on the road.
And a motor car, so if you took all graffiti off, all state-owned graffiti off, one, they can't stop you. Two, you could go into CBD, park in a parking spot. So, like where you put money in a meter, you could park there all day, every day, because you have free access to their road. And you could also go on toll roads.
Really
I was a bit surprised by that one. I thought toll roads was for, like a dual carriageway was for carriage, for
horse and cart.
But no, again, we have free access to the public road.
Is that in the land transport?
Land transport, land transport.
I'll read it.
Yeah.
We'll go home.
It's quite a big one. There's lots of them there.
I can get, please.
And look at that road user. This road user something act as well.
I just can't believe it.
Land transport road user rules.
I admire you doing that. What you're doing. It's really.
Well, I told the cops. I informed the council of the parking faults. They're supposed to not be dishing out tickets, and she's seen 2 people getting tickets on the 19th, 2 weeks after I informed the council of the fault. They shouldn't be doing it. They should be fixing the fucking line.
I've driven a bus for 8 years, and I'm absolutely over it because I'm over Elton Transport.
Yeah.
The way they don't help the bus driver.
No.
Now we get penalised. They actually give us tickets if we actually park on a bus stop and leave our bus.
That's ridiculous.
It's fucking bullshit, bro.
So if you parked here and went to the toilet around the corner, you'd get a ticket.
Now there's a bus stop. This is only one of the problems. There's a bus stop on K Road Overbridge on the way into town before you get Tiptree on the left. Okay, before the Haka Lodge.
Yeah.
It's technically not deemed as a bus stop, even though it's got a sign because it's on a grey background. It has to be on a white background.
So the sign's illegal.
All I need is a bit of a white paint and that's done, right? They won't do it. They won't enforce it. Cars parked there, we can't. Now, we've got 2 options. If your mother is on a walker and she's on my bus, I have to say no, I cannot double park. I have to take you to the next bus stop, even if it's a kilometre.
And then make her walk all the way. Yeah, no, that's just too hard for them.
I will not fucking do that.
Yeah.
I double park. The only problem is, if I have an accident, I'm in the fuck. I'm shit. Because they have said in the Land Transport Act, they said in the Land Transport Act that you're not allowed to double park. You're not allowed to be next to another vehicle next to curb. What do they expect us to do? It's bullshit, mate. This is why I'm fucking over it, bro.
The thing is, if it's a motor car, you're just to do no harm, injury or damage.
Yeah.
Therefore, if in my motor car was to do
loss or
damage,
injuries.
then there would be a valid claim against me, and I would honour all valid claim. So,
honour and dishonour.
Yeah.
That's the trick with them.
The problem is insurance companies always, when they say they'll insure a car, then they'll always want, well, what's the registration plate?
Yeah, then it becomes a vehicle.
But I'm not in a vehicle, it's a car. There is no registration. I will not be driving on the road. if you Google ASB and sort of car insurance, there's all this reference to car insurance. But as soon as you try to insure a car,
they turn it into
they
a
want
vehicle.
to try to turn it into a vehicle and say, what's the registration plate number? You see, but no, it's not.
Difference between lawful and illegal.
So really, that is false and misleading representation under the Fair Trading Act.
Yeah.
But they keep claiming that they'll insure a car, but try to, and
It's like they turn around and you go into somewhere like Pick a Part to get a part, and they say, no refunds. I've got a refund from Pick a Part.
of course, it has to like...
It's that simple. I took the law in with me, and it's going to cost them more to get a lawyer to take me to court over it, so they just give me the refund.
You know,
I started taking a stand after I got two $30 tickets in 2012, and the first thing I did was buy myself a New Zealand Law Dictionary, and then my jaw started dropping when I started reading what the words meant. And that's
so just
what
like on the language.
It took me 10 months. I bet 3 police prosecutors, 4 appearances, $80 ticket dismissed.
Right.
They were screwed. They even lost a 5-hour trial because they didn't want it on record.
What's your name?
Mark.
Mark. Are you telling me that you don't have registration plates on your vehicle?
Oh yeah, I do. But I have one at home that I don't. That are just as much. That's because it's joint owned by my wife, so...
I better go to my phone.
No, that's alright. I better go too, actually.
Hey, look, I'll catch up. I'll send you an email.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, jump online and have a look. There's the $80 ticket saga and the $60 ticket saga. But just look up CKA Mark on YouTube and it'll come up. You'll see this green face is the icon. That's me. Alright.
Forward to it.
Cool.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
No, it's alright. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. Have a good day, eh? Good luck.
They took out the service vehicle. In other words, all of these are
Yeah.
But if you want to have free access to the road, is it right?
You have the right to travel.
In New Zealand, we have the right to
But you have a privilege to drive. You're giving up the right to the privilege.
Sneaky bucks, mate. We do not use we do not use the road to operate and access the road in a motor car, which is for the carriage, passengers,
Or for commerce.
So not a Uber, not a taxi, not a light motor vehicle, not a small passenger service vehicle. It's a motor car. That's when we can take all state-owned graffiti off.
Like your bin number, your plate.
And then you cannot even stop that. The police have no jurisdiction, no authority to even stop you. They can only stop the driver. Driver
vehicle.
is in regard to a vehicle. Vehicle is commerce. Land Transport Act applies to vehicles. That's
Word games, mate. That's all it is.
They always want to know who will agree to be the driver. You know, was your client driving? It's, you know, did your client say you were driving? Yes, you are. I said I was driving. Okay, well then, you can find him guilty if he was driving. Driving was disqualified because driving is regard to a vehicle. Vehicle is commerce. So Land Transport Act applies to transport, traffic, haulage, carriage, vehicle, use. They're all references to commerce on the road. So then the judge can remain in honour and not infringe on the law, which is what they've got to do.
Yeah.
And so you can take everything off. You never have to make a statement. But
You've got the right to remain silent.
So
Shut the hell up. That's the easy answer.
They cannot issue a ticket. This is no registration number. They're nothing in which to. They don't know how to identify ridiculous. They cannot issue a ticket. You can park in a CBD in a stay every day because your road's there for us when we're not in if we're in commerce, then they can regulate us and a road sign and everything else applies to those commerce.
Yeah, well, that's different. I mean, law's there to protect people and property. Legislation's there to restrict and prohibit. It's all money. No, they fucking hated that. I really know the NPCC. Good games would shake my hand. But yeah, learning the law. And everybody just wanders around thinking they're going to get a fucking ticket, you pay it. Because it's more hassle to fight it. But you're presumed innocent. Why do you think you're guilty and pay the ticket? Onus probandi or burden of proof is on them to establish. Yeah. But I've put everything up on YouTube, 10 million links. I was out here in October and the court security officers kept coming out and telling me I couldn't film on a public sidewalk. And then they said, well, we'll call the cops. I said, well, the cops can't do fuck all either because I'm not committing an offence. We've got no jurisdiction. But they all know you need permission to record. People have privacy. I said, there's no privacy in a public place. It's crazy, man. Oh, well, we're going to shoot the gas. Take my sign back. I'll be back here in a couple of days. Happy New Year's to you.
On fire, 'cause they lit the spark.